world at the brink of World War III. Today we're going to talk about Ukraine, Russia, and what America, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, are doing about it. I'm going to let Atkins start off with this one.
Ukraine and Russia were both part of the Soviet Union. When the USSR disbanded in 1991, both became independent countries. And though they both gained their independence, Russia sees Ukraine as its little man's. But Ukraine doesn't see itself like that. Ukraine currently is in between European and Russian influence. In 2014, they elected a president, Viktor Yanukovych, who signed a political and economic deal with Moscow instead of the European Union. This was a sign of Russian pressure within the Ukrainian government, so all hell broke loose. They started protesting, and eventually Yanukovych had to flee the country. They then elected a president that would sign the EU deal. Since then, the border conflict has been intense, as Russia has claimed some Ukrainian land. Now, it's where Ukraine is positioned that makes this shit complicated. Ukraine is literally a rope in a tug of war, with the west side of the country wrapped within Europe and the east side wrapped within Russia. Ukraine has now become a vital chess piece between Russia and NATO. A NATO that the United States is a part of. A NATO that was created to fight off the Soviet Union back in the day. A NATO that consists of countries like Poland, Bulgaria, and the Balkan states. Territories that are across the street from Russia. And now Russia feels threatened. And they will not let a once Russian land, in their eyes, sign a deal with the Western power structure. They now have tens of thousands of Russian troops across the Ukrainian border. And they are prepared for war.
Okay, so why are people afraid of any type of conflict with Russia? And in my opinion, I feel like it's because of the Shanghai Five that was brought together in the 1990s to stop fighting of communist countries on the Russian and Chinese borders. The SCO from these meetings throughout the 1990s was formed in 2001. The Shanghai Five created an international alliance to help spread their agendas worldwide through trade, industry, military confidence, and international relations. So now what is the SCO? I'll tell you. The SCO consists of Russia, you got China, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, India, Pakistan. It's a lot of stands. So the first sign of the powerful opposition was when the US actually applied to be an observer of the meetings of the SCO. And which is, usually they do that right before they're about to join. Countries do that. But the SCO denied the entry of the US. Okay, America was also forced to withdraw military bases from Kazakhstan and Tajikistan in 2014. The reason why America was there, obviously, is because of the Afghanistan and the Iraqi conflict. So now, but why would America be, even take that deal to even withdraw from these places? Why would America even be hesitant? I'll tell you why. With the alliance of these countries, it sums up, right? All the people with these countries combined, it sums up to 3 billion people. Okay? And 4 of the countries that are in the SCO have nuclear weapons, nuclear capabilities. China, Russia, India, Pakistan. Now, what this reminds me of, and I was talking to Akin about it, it reminds me of World War II. We all went to school and we realized, how did World War II start? It's when Germany wanted to invade Poland. So now, obviously, when you have Russia possibly wanting to invade Ukraine, or at least have things on the borders, it's just seeming like a narrative that can get out of hand.
Now, just through opinion, me as an American, what I've noticed that a lot of our media is flooded with, I want to say nonsense, but it's not getting to the point of what's going on with this potential war, a war that we are involved in. They basically dealing with somebody that we are affiliated with. And if they invade Ukraine, it's been said by our press secretaries that if anything was to happen with Ukraine, that the results will be consequential. Me as an American, I worry about this because due to COVID, with the shutdowns, with the economy, are we prepared to really go to war?
I feel like the answer to that question is no. Especially not with a place like Russia or China. I feel like this is why the news, you got the CNNs, even to an extent the Fox Newses of the world, not reporting on it. You know, a lot of this stuff, you know, we've gone on things like, you know, RT News or sometimes online news sources, or, you know, just comments from people that you just read, and it kind of tells you the real story of what's going on. But really, Russia supplied China with 70% of its military weapons. Okay, so an alliance like that, you're not going to be able to attack just one person in the SCO without all the other countries that are in that alliance interfering. Those countries don't even make huge decisions on trade and commerce without each other. It has to be a unanimous decision. As a matter of fact, as opposed to what's going on in Africa right now, where China is able to have free trade, free market, and hurt African imports, Russia has so much power and trust with China that Russia was able to refuse to let the SCO become a free trade market, because it didn't want Chinese markets to flood its own markets and offset its own products. So that means that these countries are within cahoots. They are able to come up with plans, even if they disagree. They get to put their differences aside and come together. Something that America hasn't practiced in a very long time.
And please talk about these things. Talk about what's going on with the countries. Let our barbershop talk also have more detailed politics. Not just about the people who we vote for, but our policies, how it affects our foreign affairs. Because these things also will affect our children, how we move, how we eat, how we make money and make a living.
Absolutely. Now, China also is forming a pretty powerful bank structure.
Yes.
To actually compete with the World Bank. China is also the biggest buyer in Iranian oil. Okay, so each and every last one of these countries in the SCO is definitely like, you know what, think about it like this. Think about it like NATO versus the USSR.
Yes.
So this is kind of like the new USSR in a way. Now, for the record, the SCO actually, one of their mission statements is to fight against terrorism, separatism, and Islamic extremism. So technically they kind of have the same plight as NATO. But the thing with the Islamic extremism, right? Now China is able to repress Muslim ethnicities within China. Suppress and repress them and actually discriminate against them. But China is able to do this because within the SCO, they've also agreed not to interfere in each other's internal affairs. So there's many things that China is doing that the world is taking a blind eye to. Okay, and they know that if you attack Russia, because Russia wants to invade Ukraine, you're bringing China, Pakistan, India, and as Atkins said earlier, come on, America is more divided than I feel like sometimes it's ever been, even amongst the white folks. See, us as black people, we know America is definitely divided when it comes to black people, white people. We know it's divided when it comes to Mexican people, white people. But now even the white people in America are absolutely not together no more. You know, because you got the Democrats, you got Republicans, you know, so they're not as in sync as what they used to be. Not to mention inflation. Poverty is increasing at an all-time level. Obesity and bad health is increasing at an all-time level. So are we truly ready for a World War III right now? What do you think?
No, we're not. But I also too find the odd that recently women were now declared eligible for the draft. And it's kind of weird how now, just a few months later to a year later, we may be on the brink of war. You know, would women from the ages of 18 to 24 suddenly be drafted to go to war? You know, we have to think about these things. These are our daughters, our sisters. You know, there might be some mothers who might have to go. We don't know.
You know, young mothers.
Young mothers.
Yeah, you know. So if you got like if you got somebody that's like a teenage mother or something like that, they might be able to go. But like the older mothers, no, because they kind of
but also too there's an age thing. So yeah. I think at the age of 26,
yeah, like 26,
I think
27,
then you can't draft.
You'd be alright. But this was Base to Your Face. My name is Aditi Young Essien.
My name is Kenny Essien.
Now I want everybody to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on this. Comment what things do you want us to talk about, what are you interested in, and we can get to those things. Once again, this is Base to Your Face. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.